Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. I'm Nick. This is the Wristwatch News Channel, and it's spooky season. Today we're reviewing a watch that on many of the forums have been called horrible, disgusting, ghastly. And I'm not talking about this abomination. No, what we're looking at today is something that's been sent into the channel by a friend of the channel, Mr. Stone, and that's his Timex in collaboration with Madeworn American Documents watch. If you're new to the channel, come on in. We don't bite. We talk about all types of watches and watch accessories here. If you're into your watches, you're in good company. Returning subscribers, as always, you are the blood to my fangs, the electricity to my monster, the camp counselors to my faceless psycho. Timex have recently released a bunch of very popular collaborations with Second. You've probably seen them. There's the quite obvious Batman, Hulk. They're nice, but not nice enough to make me want to buy one. A Second collaboration that I have wanted to buy, though, was the Spinnaker 50 Phantoms, very in keeping with the spooky season. But that sold out in under a minute. Maybe I should buy one of those Timex Second watches. There's more coming out, I might keep an eye. Anyway, the Timex American Documents collaboration with Madeworn. Is it as horrible as many of those on the forums make out? Or is it a misunderstood monster? Let's find out. What is Timex American Documents series, I hear you cry? Well, it's a collection of watches from Timex, originally launched in 2019, that have cases, dials, hands, crystals, and straps that are all manufactured in the United States. This particular American Documents we have here is a collaboration between Timex and Madeworn. Madeworn became relatively well known in the watch space for taking Rolex and some other luxury watches, as well as Apple watches, and hand engraving them. The founder of Madeworn, Blaine Halvorson, basically likes to take new items and make them, well, look worn. Not tatty or old as such, just that well-lived-in look. They do nice band t-shirts, actually, which, in my opinion, always do look better worn in. The Timex Madeworn American Documents comes in an intricate presentation box. The watch we have here is not brand new, of course, and has been opened originally by the owner, so we don't have all the packaging. The presentation box would have originally had a sealed wax paper outer layer, covering then the wax-sealed, hand-burned presentation box. That's right, you heard correctly, hand-burned box. This isn't fancy wood though, mind. It's some kind of ply or MDF, and to be honest, it's a bit like handling coal. As mentioned in the intro, the Timex Madeworn American Documents is polarizing, as it's all about the aesthetic of a well-worn watch. What people don't like is that elements of the watch have no real meaning. It's a split dial with an AM, PM indicator, but they are literally just there for the aesthetic's sake, as the watch doesn't indicate AM, PM correctly in its configuration. Let's run through a few stats. So the Timex reference for this watch is T for Tango, W for Whiskey, TW2U, U for Uniform 67900. It's got a 41mm case. It's a mineral crystal. It's 10mm thick with 20mm lug width. It's got a pole push crown, a Swiss Ronda 6004 point D quartz movement. More about that in a minute. Stamped and numbered medallion style snapback caseback with a water resistance of around 30 meters. There was another reason my friend, Mr. Stone, sent me his American Documents watch, and that was that the movement had gone kaput. He took it to a local watch repairer near him, and they wanted around £120, which is about $150 to put a new movement in. I knew I could get a 6004 point D Ronda movement for about £30, about $40. So I told him to send it to me and I'd swap the movement out for him. Turned out, though, that this was not as easy a task as I first thought, as the dial is an age dial, with the darker side of the dial being coated and then the numbers stamped into that coating. The coating, it turned out, is very fragile, and a part of it broke off when I picked up the dial. I messaged him straight away to let him know, and he was fine with it. Lucky enough, as the watch is designed to look worn, having a bit of the dial coating come off didn't really affect the appearance of the overall appearance. Timex and Madeworn really made a point to highlight that there was a Swiss movement in this watch as a selling point. And of course, it's a Swiss quartz, so I thought I'd give you a little history of Ronda, as many of us in the watch community still tend to scoff at quartz movements. So founded in 1946, Ronda is a Swiss watch movement manufacturer that initially started out producing various watch components for other companies. The company struggled throughout the 1950s due to the Swiss watchmaking statute, which restricted which companies could produce their own watch movements. So in the 60s, Ronda was able to secure production rights and began producing complete mechanical watch movements, including a line of upscale watches with the Ronda brand name. I've never seen one of these, so I'd be really interested to see one if you've got one. Message me in the comments. Responding to the quartz crisis, Ronda made it an opportunity, opening a subsidiary in Hong Kong to launch a line of quartz movements in the 70s and rebranded their assembled movements under the name Harley. These lasted into the 80s before Ronda ceased producing mechanical movements completely and production was moved largely to Asia. By the 2010s, Ronda was established as one of the leading producers of quartz movements, producing about 20 million annually, and Ronda manufactures movements in Thailand as well as 3 sites in Switzerland. At Baselworld 2016, Ronda announced they would re-enter the mechanical movement business with a new R150 Meccano movement. The Meccano caliber R150 is claimed to have an average accuracy rating of plus to minus 12 seconds per day, power reserve of 40 hours, and a beat rate of 28,800. The reason I've gone into a little bit of detail on this movement is that before researching Ronda for this video, I had not heard of it, nor have I seen a Meccano in any watch. If you own a watch with this movement in it, I would really love to know how it's performing. Again, let me know in the comments. The 41mm wide steel case is given a coating and then worn through a tumbling process to give the appearance of aged brass. Timex and Madeworn invented some brand new processes to age the various watch components, which allow each of the limited edition pieces to have their own unique look and feel. According to Timex and Madeworn, no two Timex Madeworn watch dials are the same. And from what I've seen, I would say that this is the case, as the dials I've seen have all had their own unique aging. Halverson wanted the watches to look as though they'd been used in the sun, while the wearers spent years working and wearing them. And I've got to say, he's got what he was after. One of my favorite things about this watch is actually its leather strap. Also made in America and given an aging process so that the brown tone matches the world of Madeworn and of course the watch itself. Also, the aging process has made it incredibly supple. But what I really like about it though, which is very personal to me, is the smell. My father was a mechanic and it reminds me of him. It smells of oil and grease, and not new oil and grease. Makes me almost feel like I need to wash my hands with Sulfica. So why buy this American Documents Timex Madeworn collaboration? Well, for one thing, it is an interesting conversation piece. Blaine Halverson took inspiration from old American pocket watches that included two-tone dials, which were designed to represent AM, PM indicators. In an interview, Halverson said the two-tone black and tan-colored dials represent the duality of existence, and he finds the two faces of the aesthetic contrast appealing. I have to agree, because I like a split dial. I bought the Sugess Zenith Homage, which I reviewed previously if you haven't seen it. And his inspiration was also taken from a series of designs including vintage military and other professional use watches from the 20th century. So initially sold exclusively through the Timex.com website, price for the Madeworn limited edition at release in 2021 was around $850 US dollars and around £650. Which was around double what a regular American Documents would set you back. So paying a bit more for it to be have that Madeworn connection. Of course, you can no longer buy this watch new, and it was a limited edition. I'm not sure exactly how many were made either. The Timex US site doesn't say, and there seems to be conflicting reports online, but I believe it was around 250 to 300. I'm not going to do the good, the bad, and the ugly with this watch either, as it's so subjective. If you don't like pre-distress, then the whole thing is going to be ugly to you. I will say the box being like a lump of coal, although may look interesting, is not really an enjoyable experience to handle. The fact that the movement had packed in on a watch released in 2021 is not very encouraging, and a mineral crystal on an $850 watch, that's poor no matter which way you look at it. But if you like pre-distressed, this watch does tick a lot of boxes. When you get it on your wrist, it does have its own charm. Well, that was the Timex American Documents in collaboration with Madeworn. The American Documents, a very popular line. The Madeworn, not so much. I think it's a very acquired taste. It's definitely not to my taste, although I don't think it's as much of a monster as those make out in the forums. I mean, yes, the AM, PM indicator doesn't really do anything on the dial, but it's all about, the watch is all about aesthetics. It's not about use as such. It's just all about how it looks. I mean, that's the whole vibe, isn't it? That's the whole Madeworn vibe, is that it looks like something that it's been used for years and years and years. It's not a new watch, although it is a new watch. That's the whole point. So I like it, but I wouldn't buy one. My friend, the friend of the channel, Mr. Stone, he loves it. He wears it regularly in rotation, and I don't blame him. It's although it's not my taste, it's still an interesting watch. I mean, limited numbers. There we go. You got to make up your own mind, though. It might be your kind of thing. It might not. So thanks for watching, guys. Really appreciate you coming along on spooky season, seeing what I had to offer. If you've enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe and tell others about me. There'll be more videos coming. And yeah, look after yourselves. Look out, keep yourselves safe out there, and enjoy yourselves when you're trick-or-treating. Cheers.